With the federal government moving to ease restrictions for Canadians, permanent residents, if they make the next step to move to allow tourists sooner than BC had intended by September, but they do it over the summer, what would you like that to look like?
Well, we are in discussions with the federal government on their plans to relieve restrictions at the border. I'm in regular contact, as you know, with Governor Inslee to the south of us on the land border. Of course, that would affect our marine entry points as well. And I just finished a call with Senator Murkowski from Alaska about the issues that she sees as problematic with Canada, not with British Columbia, but with Canada. And I'll relay those to the Prime Minister when I get the opportunity next week. But I'm confident that we're on the right track. I know the case counts are very favorable. Hospitalizations are down, immunizations are up. These are all of the objectives that we laid out in our restart plan. We'll have more to say next week about going to the next stage. Again, I'll be working with Ottawa at the officials level as well as face-to-face as we do this with premiers across the country to find that common position. But it's important to know that not every jurisdiction across the country has the same view on this matter. Some want to open up tomorrow. Others don't want to open up until September. I think somewhere between those two poles is where we'll land, the quintessential Canadian compromise, I suspect, and it's carried us as a nation this far, and I'm hopeful it'll carry us through the end of the pandemic.
Follow up, Lisa?
And if the border opens before September, that is not what BC had planned, what would you like it to look like, and how will you feel about that? Are you okay with that, or would that be distressing?
Well, our job is to be prepared for any eventuality. Again, these are issues that are beyond our control. The borders are the responsibility of the federal government. I have said in the past, and I'll continue to say, there was disappointment at the front end of the pandemic, but we've had a very collaborative relationship to this point in time, and I don't expect it will change. So as we work on how we can best look towards a reopening, I'll be there to talk to the Prime Minister and his team about that. Our focus is to make sure that we get to the middle of June and the next stage in our restart plan, and then, of course, getting to Canada Day, where we hope that we can have even more restrictions relieved as we see positive outcomes on cases. And certainly, again, the pace with which we've been able to vaccinate people is just astonishing when you consider the magnitude of this undertaking. And I'm very confident British Columbians are all on the same page here. They want to get to a place where we can welcome the world back to British Columbia, but we want to make sure we get all of the steps right, and that's why our plan, I think, has been widely applauded across sectors, because it gives a roadmap for people to start planning around. And I suspect we'll be inviting people here before September, but I can't pick a date. All I know is that all of the indications are positive at this point, and British Columbians need to keep with it, keep following the guidelines that are currently in place, and hopefully we'll be relieving them again next week, and then again further into July, 1st of July.
Rob Buffum, CTVBI.
Oh, hi, Premier. My question also relates to the borders. You've answered much of it, but I wondered if, in light of the federal government's announcement that they plan for early July to have Canadians could leave the country and come back without quarantining, that may put a dent in staycation revenue if people can go, cross the border for a vacation. Would you be motivated to help the tourism industry locally by, pushing the Prime Minister, when you speak to him next, to have the borders open for fully vaccinated, negative testing tourists to come here?
Well, again, those are discussions that are happening at the officials level. We're going to continue to be very vocal at that table. We have tourism interests here in British Columbia that are very, very important to our well-being as a province, and of course to the people who operate, whether it be attractions, whether they be guides, whether they be part of the hospitality sector. More people means more opportunity. We have such abundance and such splendor in British Columbia. We want the world to come here, but we want to make sure we do it on our terms. British Columbians have worked really hard to get to where we are with respect to case counts and hospitalizations and all of the sacrifices that have been made. We don't want to throw those away just for a couple of tourists to come earlier than we have anticipated. I would encourage British Columbians, when the travel restrictions are lifted, presumably next week, and further relief on restrictions come July 1, that they go and visit those parts of British Columbia that they haven't been able to get to until now. You won't have competition from international travelers. This is an opportunity to support your community or those communities that depend on tourism, and also get a world-class view of some of the many attractions that attract visitors from around the world, or did pre-pandemic, and they will post-pandemic as well.
Follow-up, Rob?
I do. I know you've been asked about this previously, but I know other provinces, including Manitoba, are now looking at vaccine passports in light of the importance of having 2 shots that we've all recognized. Do you have any new thoughts on a domestic passport for people who have had 2 vaccines that might relate to the ability to travel around the country or spots within the province?
We haven't landed on that issue. We're not enthusiastic about it, quite frankly. This is private health information at the end of the day. And when we look at the data, it's clear that the vast majority of British Columbians are enthusiastic, almost 75% first doses. For those 18 and older, that's just quite extraordinary. And we have many, many more that are registered and have not yet had their first dose. So we're confident that we're going to get into the 85-90% range without incentives, without concerns about accessing the particular vaccine that someone would be looking for if they're shopping for vaccines. In that sense, I've said already that I plan to get an AstraZeneca second dose if it's available to me. And that, I think, is what most British Columbians are thinking about right now. When it comes to businesses, they're going to have to think about this, and we are collaborating with them through the various tables that we've established to see what they believe is practical in order to operate their business, and also have some confidence that they're doing their part to keep cases down low once we get into a period of time where more and more people are traveling, more and more people are engaging in commerce than we've seen over the past number of months. So we haven't landed on a local immunization passport. I'm uncomfortable with the notion of requiring people to do that. We have not made vaccinations mandatory. Businesses make their own choices: no shirt, no shoes, no service. Everyone's seen that sign, whether you've got shirts or shoes or service. So there are some personal questions here, and I'm confident that common sense will prevail. I'm hopeful that common sense will prevail.